In my previous video, I traveled to a Hakka village in West Fujian province. By connecting the Hakka Tulous there with the associated records in the genealogy of the Zhang clan living in the village, I walked you through the history of Hakka. Genealogy is the unique part of Chinese culture. It makes each Han Chinese clan, and our culture traceable. In this video, I'll tell you the story of how a group of people in Taiwan found their lost clan in mainland China via their genealogy and via a Tulou that dates back 3.5 centuries. In the genealogy of the Liu clan, I also discovered the prophecy of the fate of the Taiwan Strait. 16 kilometers away from the Taxia village where the Zhang clan live, there is a place named Lu Cuo. The name of this place as well as the bus stop over there is Lu Cuo. These two characters convey a lot of information. Lu is the surname of the clan living here. Cuo is how Hokkien call their homes. Lu Cuo means the house of the Lu clan, and that house is the Tulou behind me, Longtan Lou. During my Hakka Tulou trip, I visited near 100 Tulous. I thought I had seen every different design out there, but when I approached this Tulou, I still quickly spotted something different. I'll give you 5 seconds to see if you can find the most obvious difference. There are windows only on the top floor of this Tulou, whereas a common rule for Hakka Tulou is to have windows from the 3rd floor on and above. The exterior wall of the Tulou are full of peepholes for defensive purpose. On the top floor, there is a watchtower hanging in each corner. This Tulou is more formidable than the ones we've seen so far, which implies when it was built, the public security in this area was more worrisome. In front of the Tulou, there is a pond. Actually, the Tulou is named after the pond. There is always a pond in Hakka Weilong houses in Guangdong province, as well as in the Ting River Ridge in West Fujian province. However, pond can be rarely found in front of Hakka Tulous. That made this Tulou so unique. According to the genealogy of the Liu clan, the Tulou was constructed in 1663 and the pond was dug half a century later. On each floor, there are 4 rooms on each side, making the total number of rooms in the Tulou 64. The ancestral temple of the Liu clan is on the other side of the stream, facing the Tulou. The Tulou, the ancestral temple, and the stream form the yin and the yang diagram. Although technically the residents living here are Hakka, they speak Hokkien because this is the border region of Hakka and Hokkien. According to the genealogy of the Liu clan, their ancestors migrated to Ninghua in Tingzhou, a Hakka region in West Fujian province. From Ninghua, some moved to Shanghang County and then to Yongding County. The clan living in the Longtan Tulou came from Yongding County. If you remember, this is almost the same route as the migration of the Zhang clan living in Taxia village. If you followed my Hakka Tulou trip, you would find the names of the locations in this area familiar. These villages all belong to the same town named Shuyang. However, it seems like there is an invisible line in the middle that divides this area into Hakka spoken region and Hokkien spoken region. It's a very interesting phenomenon. Although with Hakka origin, the Liu clan in the Longtan Tulou speak Hokkien and is influenced by Hokkien culture. But walking in the Longtan Tulou, I discovered something that reflects their Hakka origin. The room on the second floor above the entrance is a worshipping room. On the table, there is a statue of Guan Yin. This is a Hakka tradition, as I showed you in an earlier video about Hakka's religious belief. In the 18th century, in pursuing more fertile land, many Hakka migrated to Taiwan. So did those living in the Longtan Tulou. The Tulou is not far away from the river that converges into the ocean near Xiamen, which was the only official port designated by the Qing Imperial Court for taking the vessels to Taiwan. So they traveled to Xiamen first, and from Xiamen, they went to Taiwan. 2 centuries later, in 1989, one of the descendants in Taiwan returned to Longtan Tulou. He got a copy of the genealogy of the Liu clan living in the Tulou and brought it back to Taiwan. A few months later, a group of descendants in Taiwan came to the Tulou. It turned out that in Taiwan, they were always told their ancestors were from a house named the Longtan Lou located in Shuyang town. They might have not thought that house was a Tulou. They probably had never seen a Tulou before. They also worried if their ancestral house still existed. But the Longtan Tulou was standing there as if it was waiting for those descendants from Taiwan. How did they make sure that this Longtan Lou was indeed the house that their ancestors came from? Well, by checking the genealogy of the Liu clan living in the Tulou. Soon, family trees were linked up. In the ancestor temple, those descendants from Taiwan held worshipping rituals. Lu Chuansheng, the leader of the group, gave an emotional speech. He said he didn't have the words to describe his feeling. It felt like a dream. It was something inconceivable for almost a century when the connection between mainland and Taiwan was cut off. In 1895, China's Beiyang fleet was completely annihilated during the First Sino-Japan War. On April the 17th, the Qing Imperial Court was forced to sign the Treaty of Shimonoseki, in which Taiwan was ceded to Japan. In 1931, the 3 provinces in northeast China also became Japan's colony. After 14 years of hard-fought wars and a total death toll of 35 million, China defeated the fascists in 1945. But soon, the Chinese Civil War broke out. In 1949, the defeated nationalists fled to Taiwan. In 1950, the U.S. Navy 7th Fleet entered the Taiwan Strait to stop the PLA from landing in Taiwan. The stalemate lasted until 1987. With the pressure from the nationalist soldiers who were eager to visit their relatives in the mainland, the nationalist government in Taiwan issued permits to residents to visit the mainland. It turned out not only those nationalist soldiers were eager to go back to the mainland, so were the Hakka and the Hokkien in Taiwan. One year after the group's visit, Lu Chuansheng's sister Lu Xiulian also came to Longtan Tulou. This is the photo of the kids in the Liu clan lining up on the road to welcome her. In the Longtan Tulou, she fetched a cup of water from the well and drank it. This is a gesture only Chinese understand. In Mandarin, we have a phrase, 饮水思源. When drinking water, one thinks of the source of the stream. The phrase demonstrates one of the core values of the Chinese culture, One should never forget his or her origin and should be grateful of it. Back in 1990, there's no bridge near the Longtan Tulou over the stream. Lu Xiulian walked across the stream with bare feet and performed the worshipping ritual in the ancestral temple. She also inspected the stele erected in commemoration for the visit led by her brother a year earlier. The inscription on the stele written by her brother starts with the statement, "The isolation that lasted for a century cannot divide us because blood is thicker than water." In the ensuing years, those in Taiwan visit the Longtan Tulou many times. They also brought the younger generations in the family. Money was sent from Taiwan to support the restoration of the Tulou. A stele was embedded into the wall near the entrance in commemoration of the restoration and support from Taiwan. Up until this point, it's such a moving story. But the story will soon take a dramatic twist. On April the 17th, 1995, Lu Xiulian went to Japan. The Treaty of Shimonoseki was signed exactly a century earlier. In Hotel Shimpanra, where the treaty was signed, she told the press, "Cession of Taiwan to Japan was a misfortune to China, but it was Taiwan's luck." It turned out she's a fanatic separatist. What's more sarcastic was 2 months after returning to Taiwan from the Longtan Tulou in 1990, she joined the party that seeks the independence of Taiwan. The media back then was not as developed as today. The Lui clan in the Longtan Tulou didn't know this. In 1999, the revised genealogy was ready to publish. They asked Lu Xiulian for an autograph as well as a copy of a resume to be included in the genealogy. In August, she mailed those from Taiwan as requested. A few months later, during the election in Taiwan, her separatism stance was known to the mainland. Those in the Longtan Tulou, of course, were shocked. They issued a statement saying that's betrayal to their ancestor. Now, no one lives in the Longtan Tulou anymore. It took me a while to find the well where Lu Xiulian fetched water. It is completely covered by weeds. The relationship of mainland and Taiwan is as messy as the weeds in the Tulou. But I don't believe a war will break out soon as Tony Blinken suggested in many occasions. I think there is still a window of about a decade to solve this problem. Whether it will end up in a war or it will have a happy ending is beyond my ability to predict. I do believe the wisdom of Hakka and Hokkien in Taiwan are much needed in this matter. When reading the genealogy of the Lui clan, this page signed off by representatives from both mainland and Taiwan caught my attention. It listed 12 disciplines for the offspring of the Lui clan. Number 6. Be united. The couplet below elaborates the consequences of both united and divided. The analogy is simple and straightforward, but it sounds like the prophecy of the fate of the Taiwan Strait. Ancestor worshipping is another unique part of Chinese culture. There's no better example to demonstrate it than the story in this video. In my next video, I'll take you to the ancestor temple of the royal clan of China in the Ming and Qing dynasties. It is the only place where a tourist could enter an imperial hall and take a close look at the decoration inside. I'll talk about ancestor worshipping there in the next video. I'm Yan Yan. I make videos about sites of interest in China and histories and stories behind it. Subscribe to my channel. I'll see you next time in Beijing.